The Nerd and Tie podcast is, unsurprisingly, a part of the Nerd and Tie podcast network. For more podcasts, from actual play to true crime to witchcraft, go to nerdandtie.com or join our Discord at nerdandtie.com/discord or join our forums at nerdandtie.social. Did you know you could sponsor Nerd and Tie? That's right. For just $20, we'd say your name here. We'd say, hey, you look kicking in those jeans, and we'd give you a high five if we saw you and you wanted us to give you a high five. Just go to nerdandtie.com and click on the Sponsor Us button for more information.
On this month's exciting edition of Nerd and Tie, ColossalCon North loses its entire cosplay staff. We follow up with the craziness at Ohayocon and what is going on with the Atomic Monster Weekend.
Nothing's going on!
All this and more on this month's Nerd and or Tie.
Oh.
No monsters are going on.
No monsters are going
Nothing.
on.
That's a spoiler.
It's okay. We for the 5 people who have Apple TV, they can watch Godzilla tussle with the Russells. It'll be all right.
I've been watching Monarch, and it's really good.
No, I bet it looks great. Guess what? I don't have Apple TV, and I still haven't been convinced to get it. And I love Godzilla more than anyone should.
Ted Lasso is amazing.
Still,
I'm saying it's worth signing up for a free trial once the whole season's out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
But I could have said that about Ted Lasso for 3 years. So, you know.
Fair.
Introduce us!
Yeah. Defending Apple TV is the one, the only Trey Dorn.
It's one of the cheaper streaming services I pay for.
I believe that.
Of course, I got the first 2 years of it free.
A lot less enthusiastic about, or rather, not meaningfully enthusiastic or unenthusiastic. We have Genjamin Brock. And me ardently refusing. I refuse. I don't care how many shows look good or have been recommended to me by Two Boobs Watch the Tube.
Oh, Schmigadoon's amazing.
I'll probably bite the bullet soon. I'm Celeste Star Twin, and it is what an amazing time to be on the. I haven't been watching. The thing is though, I also lost motivation to check out Apple TV because there has been so much really good anime on Netflix of all places that I've gotten distracted. Like, Pluto is amazing. Watch Pluto. Back in the first season of Nerd and Tie, I was recommending the comic. The Scott Pilgrim anime is
anyways
very good. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Anyways,
no, we're not going to talk about fun things. We're going to talk about bummer things.
But before we talk about bummer things, we're going to talk about a new place where you can talk about bummer things, and that is we are happy to announce that just like it's 2003, we've decided to launch a forum for Nerd and Tie.
Heck yeah!
Except it's a modern forum that looks good on your cell phone, besides being good on your computer, and has modern features and loads quickly and doesn't suck, and you can embed an image without having to go find a third-party image host because we found it for you through an API call. That's right, nerdandtie.social. Nerdandtie.social. It's like .com, except it's .social.
I'm really excited for this thing. I've barely used it, but I'm legitimately excited.
Yeah.
I know. Did you want to go into a little bit of why we set up a forum since we already have a pretty active Discord audience?
Because I hate the centralized internet.
That is very. I thought so.
Okay. So it dawned on me. So I'm a heavy Tumblr user, and Tumblr had a little bit of a panic about it dying. Of course, it's not dying, and actually, like, the news is actually fine. But automatic, had an internal memo that got leaked, and people thought the house was burning down. And it made me realize is that, like, I don't want to, like, when I try to find communities all the ones I'm
Mhm.
part of are owned by like 4 companies, own all of them, be it Discord, Facebook, Tumblr, and I don't use Twitter anymore. But it was Twitter. I guess TikTok has replaced Twitter for me. So those 4, yeah. So Facebook, Tumblr, TikTok, and Discord. And if one of those goes away, I lose a huge part of my social interactions on the internet. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the centralized internet. I'm annoyed with it. And I figured, my thought was that I could sit and complain about it and then just keep using stuff, or I could do something. And
No, that's smart,
yeah.
because like I've been, for the last year, I've been bummed out because I used to really enjoy Twitter. There was a time when
Yeah.
was it a hell site? Yes.
Yeah.
But like it was still better than whatever the hell it is now. So
Yeah,
ugh.
that's why, like, so losing Twitter, like losing really the community I had on Twitter, lost me one of my communities, and just having that one go, like, and I don't really know how much time I want to invest in finding a corporate alternative when the internet used to run through like individual websites hosting individual forums, and
Mhm.
the thing is it's like, and that kind of, we've started to develop those micro communities again with Discord, but we're still but almost every website I go to that has its own micro community just uses Discord, right? And
Mhm.
that Discord means that we're all relying on a single service, and all it takes is a corporate buyer buying the service from the current company. Like, no matter how much you like the current corporate ownership of Discord, or like they seem to be, doing things well or right, that doesn't mean that's what's going to be like in 5 years. And you
Mhm.
don't own any of your data. Like, all of these websites and all of these communities, like all of these places I go to that are like part of different communities for different YouTubers and different conventions and different, like all of these, or even ours, we don't own the data on the Nerd and Tie Discord. So if the Nerd and Tie Discord, if Discord goes out of business, that community is lost forever.
Right.
Where with the forum, first off, with our forum, that we own the data. We're still leasing space on someone else's server. However, we can take our data and move it somewhere else. We can move to a new server, move to a new host. We just have to export the database. It's so, by us owning by having communities more separately owned, and by like having that, it allows us to have a little bit more security, that if we went back to that where everyone is running their own community, if one goes down, they don't all go down, which is not the way it is right now. And so that was part of my thinking. Now, I will say the nice thing is, a modern forum right now, besides signing up with a raw fresh account, you actually can register for the site with your Discord credentials or with your Twitter credentials. I have not implemented Facebook or Google, because Facebook wants my home address, and Google we will probably implement down the line, but probably not for a few months, because Google, most of Google's requirements, while they're a little more strict, are we're more than capable of following. Like, we have a privacy policy. We would probably want to beef up our terms of service for Google's sake, but Google wants me to make a YouTube video to justify my API usage. So even though the Google integration is ready to go, like tested and works, I can't roll it out to the public until after I make a YouTube video. Which is just funny to me. But so, like, you can sign up with either a fresh new account just on our server, or you can sign up with with either a Twitter or a Discord account. If Twitter or Discord goes out of business, the email address you have attached to those services will register with us. So you can always, if Discord goes out of business and you're registered with us through Discord, you can reset a password to go with your account. So you're not in the woods, and we don't get access to any of your data, just your login verification code that comes back from the service. So yeah, and we promise there's no ads on our forum. There are ads on nerdandtie.com. There are no ads on nerdandtie.social. That is just a rule we're going to be following. The community is the community, and we want you to join and be there and be our friend. But that's enough about us.
Indeed. Let's look at some messes. That's what we're gonna look at this month.
Where do we want to go first? Do we want to go to Wisconsin, Ohio, or Arizona?
Well, since we already let the cat out of the bag, should we start in Arizona and kind of work inward from where we were at?
All right, so Arizona. So Atomic Monster Weekend was supposed to take place October 27th through 29th. It didn't. Because about a week before the con was canceled. Now, you wouldn't necessarily know that because they didn't tell anyone. If you went to their Facebook page, there were no comments about the cancellation prior to the con. In fact, actually, if you go to the Facebook page right now, it's still a bunch of posts acting like the con's about to happen from October, with no official notice of the con being canceled. They did make a post to the Instagram, which we did get a screenshot of, but then they privated their Instagram account, saying that the con was canceled. So they made a post on Instagram and then privated their Instagram account so the public could not see it. Unless you were already following them, you would not know. And they still had ticket sales open a week before the con on Eventbrite, before the con happened. They took the website down, but they did not. They just poofed into the wind. Gone. Nothing. And this may sound shocking to you. This may sound amazing, but it might not once you find out who was running the con. O'Neill Pignani. Now, O'Neill Pignani, under the name Dr. Shriek, was running this con, and he claimed that the convention was being quote-unquote postponed due to his father being terminally ill. We have not confirmed this. We have not gotten comment because we have literally no way to reach out to this guy. But I also don't think we'd get a response, because the last time something like this happened, he didn't. Because if Pignani's name sounds familiar, it's likely because you might remember when It Came From the 80s Weekend back in 2019 was mysteriously canceled, and its website disappeared and deleted all of their social media. Now, that con was originally supposed to happen in March of 2020 and probably would have been canceled anyways, but he deleted all their social media in November of 2019. And
let's say, are you serious right now?
I am
the same guy.
Same guy.
I remember when we talked about
this.
This.
Same guy. 100% the same guy. Yeah, he used to use different names online. Now he started using Dr. Shriek, but back then I forget what name it was under. But we have found like comments online going back to 2013 about accusing him of not paying contracted artists for zines he was working on. We've not been able to verify those, but now he's canceled canceling the con a week beforehand because of your terminally ill father. I get you not being at the con, but in theory there should be enough people working your con to be there. But I don't want to accuse this man of anything specifically on the off chance that he's telling the truth, but I'm just saying it feels mighty suspicious that Pignani would, assuming I'm pronouncing his name right, that Pignani would cancel a second convention and disappear into the night.
Yeah, but this one's different. He canceled it way closer to
my god, right. So
at
least we posted an article about this on the 23rd, and we had one of the people who was a ticket holder say that they were never notified of the cancellation, and that they were fortunately saw the Instagram post before making a multi-hour drive to the con.
Jesus.
That's the thing, is how many people showed up to the Sheraton Mesa looking for a convention that did not happen.
That's, yeah.
So, I'm not saying he took the money and ran. Like, he claims in his post that he's postponing it, but there's not even anything on the webs. Like, there's nothing on the social media. And if you try to go to atomicmonsterweekend.com, your browser will find no server.
Huh.
The website is gone. That is not a con that plans on happening. And I feel bad for the attendees. I feel bad for the people who showed up not knowing it was there. And I feel bad for the guests who had that weekend set aside and booked, and because it was only a week before the con, likely couldn't book another show.
That's real crummy. Like, I know, kind of understatement, but that's...
And of course, any artists or vendors.
Yeah, any artists and vendors too. Like, this is... They invested money to that show, and a week before the con, like, it depends on, like, when you even know that it's happening, whether or not you can still get a refund on any hotel rooms. You know, travel expenses are already invested. It's just a dick move. Yeah,
that's that big old yikes.
Yeah, so it's, I mean,
like, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I also am going to be, like, watching any further events this guy tries to put on.
The problem is he keeps changing what he's called on. Like, he's not trying to change his name, but he likes to do things under, like, aliases. Like, he used to use the name Von Creep, except then he got the, the reputation for not paying people. And so now he's using Dr. Shriek. And it's, here's the thing.
Well, why would someone not trust Von Creep with their money? Like, I'm just saying.
Here's the thing, is I would be much more charitable if he hadn't taken down his, hidden the Instagram, taken down the website, and has not made any public posts on, like, the Facebook page. Like, if there were any public acknowledgement of this still, you know what I mean? Like, if there were any public posts, even if it still didn't happen, I would still give him the benefit of the doubt. But it's this whole culmination of things where he made a post and then hid it from the public. Like, why would you do that? And then took down his website. There's no mention of the cancellation on the Facebook page. There's nothing, like, completely removed materials. All of those. Plus the fact that he has literally done this before.
Yeah, that's
like, That's why I'm like, that's why I'm not being charitable. You know what I mean? Like, I would be significantly more charitable. And I think I said in the article that, like, at its most charitable reading, Mr. Pignani would have to be the unluckiest man in the world, and that seems like a good enough reason not to do business with him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You're telling me the universe, like, if you're telling the truth, the universe keeps fucking you over so hard that it's not worth investing in you. That's what I hear.
Yeah. I mean, brutal, but not wrong.
Right? Like, if everything you're saying is true, you've got the worst fucking luck, and I don't want to be anywhere near you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be very careful about even thinking about attending, or maybe not attending so much, but, like, if I was thinking about vending at an event, like at one of those events, it would just be like, but really though.
But I mean, I guess that's the really messed up part about this grift, is that if he's constantly changing his name and constantly changing the name of the event, and the event is always a first-year con that never actually happens, that's...
Yeah.
That's a really rough grift.
Yeah. I mean, you can only have so many first annuals
Uh-huh.
that never occur. So that's what happened with Atomic Monster Weekend. Is there wasn't one. Why don't we give an update on the Ohayocon situation?
Yeah, let's move. Like I said, we'll move inward.
All right.
Since we're in Wisconsin. We'll start in Arizona, moving to Ohio.
Yeah. Just go past Wisconsin, go to Ohio.
It's circling inward.
Circling, spiraling.
Yeah, spiraling.
Downward spiraling.
In a way.
No, actually, no. I'd say that you know what? Out of all of these stories, I don't want to say downward spiraling because I think that the other two stories, we're going to talk about, I believe, are run by people who genuinely want to run conventions. And
that's true.
And even at my most critical of the people involved, I do have faith that what they want to do is run a convention and people to have a good time at it. Like,
yeah, I can agree with that.
So, I think we have started with the most negative one. Not that any of these are positive stories, but the guy who steals people's money and disappears, that guy's the worst out of everybody. Allegedly steals. Technically he just said he had a no refund policy, so technically. All right, so Ohayocon, as we last left you, the Coven, the technically not a union but workers organization of volunteers, that represents a large percentage of Ohayocon's volunteer staff, is on strike. And since then, so the senior leadership, and when I say senior leadership, I'm referring to the volunteers. So with Ohayocon, we have to remember that there's the CESI board, which owns the convention, and then under that is the senior leadership, and these are people who are volunteers, unpaid volunteers, who run departments and actually run the convention. Then below them are regular volunteers, right? Originally, everything was being kind of represented by Coven. It was decided by the senior leadership that they would negotiate separately with CESI than the rest of Coven. I'm assuming it's because of their position as leadership in the organization, right? Like that they didn't want to speak for everybody else. So on November 9th, the senior leadership met with CESI. The current CESI board includes Justin Nordell. God, I don't have it in front of me. I believe Emily Kringle has joined the CESI board, and Phelps has stepped down from the CESI board, but is still working with the convention. Phelps is the former owner before they converted to nonprofit. Now they have put out there is a video of this meeting, because it was held over Zoom, and I have a copy of the video of this meeting, and it's on YouTube. There are multiple ways you can go watch this. I did not watch it, I will admit. And so I don't want to speak to the contents of that meeting, but I will say the results of that meeting was a large number, if not every department head, stepping down and leaving Ohayocon.
Wow.
Including their tabletop department, their head of registration, their
it was dramatic.
Head of video games, head of it's like if you go to the it's now the Ohio spelled like the state SpaceCon Discord, because one of the people who stepped down is the owner of that Discord, and since no one associated with that convention actually owns that Discord anymore, it is no longer labeling itself as the Ohayocon Discord. And it was unlinked as of when the strike happened. But the people who went to that meeting, the people who went to that meeting and attended that, have decided to no longer be associated with Ohayocon. As the including the head of department. I'm literally paging through the resignation letters. So like the Department of Accessibility Services head has stepped down, and the director of marketing has stepped down and quit, and the Columbus Game Day Library will no longer be contributing. The volunteer services director is quitting. Yeah, and by the way, attendees who want a refund, you should reach out to Justin Nordell. I think he's the treasurer. He's a member of the Ohayocon, the CESI board. But justin.nordell@ohayocon.org, and you can find his email linked on the Ohayocon website. If you want a refund, you should shoot that email now. He's gonna start accepting the refunds December 1st, I think.
Probably sooner rather than later.
So that has happened. That has happened. The vast majority, if not all of the vast majority of the senior leadership department, not all of them, like I believe Emily Kringle, who's on the CESI board, she was in charge of vendors. So I think they still have a vendor head. Because I'm sure as she's a member of the CESI board, I don't believe that she's leaving her position anytime soon. But the vast majority of department heads, not all, but the vast majority of department heads appear to have resigned, which we are, I want to remind you, 2 months before the convention. 2 months before the convention. Literally the crunch time for every department. And they have, now I don't know if CESI has found replacements for these people. I know that I believe for the video game room, they have found suppliers who do not seem to have an internet presence. I believe that was the comment I read. So I know that the CESI board is making arrangements to replace the missing people, but it does mean that the people running departments as of right now are not the people with experience or institutional knowledge. So that's going to be a rough go. Now, Coven, which still represents a large number of volunteers who they are currently on strike, but they are attempting to go into negotiations with CESI over the next couple of weeks. They have announced their intention to try to work with CESI and find a solution to their current concerns. And it is because the concerns that Coven has brought up, a lot of them are very legitimate concerns involving, things like, accommodations for volunteers, consistency in that, and a lot of things that I think are very reasonable changes that they're asking for. But it really does. And I think it's actually kind of important that they split these, because the concerns the Coven had are different than the concerns the senior leadership had. And so by having them negotiate separately and by having them represent themselves separately, I think that it kind of, in this particular case, will best go to the, at least might be able to find a desired outcome for the people who do show up and volunteer. Because regardless of what happens, there will be a convention in January. There will be people volunteering, and those people volunteering deserve to be treated well and to be treated with respect by the organization. And so that's really what Coven is right now lobbying and arguing for. And considering a lot of the people who were leaders in this community are exiting it, the fact that Coven is still moving forward for those people who would still be involved, I think is actually good, because regardless of whether or not you think people should still attend Ohayocon, I wouldn't go at this point, but the people who are there should be treated well. And I don't think that's a controversial take.
No, not at all.
So that's the current news that has been happening. And obviously we're going to keep following this, I guess, through Ohayocon this year. And again, you can if you you can find the video of the meeting if you want to judge for yourself how that went and react to it. I don't want to tell anyone how to feel about something that I literally have not watched myself. But I can tell you the result of that meeting was the mass resignation of most department heads of the convention.
So that kind of, feel like that kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's rough because Ohayocon converting to a nonprofit is a good thing. It's one of the longest running conventions. I know a lot of these people are very sad about, their exits because like all of these people were volunteers, right? This was not their job. And I think that's a big thing that is often taken for granted in this convention space, is that most of the people who are doing these jobs and working these jobs are doing so out of passion and love for it, and none of them need to be there. Like,
yeah,
like it's if you've got a staff that is there, that is effectively volunteering their time, like even if they're getting compensated in small ways, like a hotel room or a badge, like this is them donating to your organization their labor. And it's, you can't take those people for granted under any circumstance, because if they're not being treated well, if it stops being a rewarding experience for them, what incentive do they have to stay?
Exactly.
To paraphrase a friend of mine, it's working conventions is a service industry job. And it's a service industry job most people don't get paid for.
Yeah.
Like that in and of itself, because the people running these things, you're doing it out of love for the attendees and making sure they have a good time.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for yourself.
Yeah, it's the only people who are there to make a living at most of these conventions are the vendors and artists who are selling. And and that's why, conventions, when you run a convention, you have a responsibility to everybody there. You have a responsibility to your attendees to have a safe and fun experience because they're giving you their money. You have a responsibility to the vendors and artists because they are relying on you financially often so they can eat. So you have a responsibility to them and make sure they're taken care of. And you have a responsibility to your volunteers and staff who are volunteering their time to make sure that the event happens, who are giving up their, because I don't know if everybody who attends conventions really has any idea about how much planning goes into an event. It's I've been staffing conventions for a long time, and we're talking often weekly meetings a year in advance for an event. There are decisions, that's why when I talk about 2 months, you have to understand that for a volunteer run staff, that is not a lot of time. If you were in a full-time position, if this was your full-time job and you're working 40 hours a week to run this convention, yes, you could pull it off in 2 months. Absolutely. But this isn't that for any of them, right? These are all people who have day jobs. Some are students. Some have families. These are people who have other priorities and other things in their lives. And this is a thing that they maybe find a few hours for a week, and they are giving up their free time to make this happen for pretty much no compensation. And so if you don't treat them right, they will leave because they can just I don't know, join a knitting circle instead, go hang out at the local game store instead, or call their mom. It's
yeah, they really don't actually owe you.
Join another D&D game.
Yeah, it's your volunteers matter. You gotta treat them well.
Yeah.
That's a weird phrase. I wonder if that transitions at all into our...
What, you mean an Ohio-based convention, a company based, a convention whose company is based out of Ohio, not treating their workers well?
Yeah, funny that.
I don't know where we could be going with that.
Well, I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going to I'm going to the Wisconsin Dells just this last weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
They're eating him, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god!
Yeah.
So no,
we
no
all
one,
went to
no one
Troll
got
2.
that
I understand.
thing.
Uh,
I don't think.
yeah. ColossalCon North. ColossalCon North. It just wrapped
ColossalCon
yesterday.
North.
We're recording this on Monday, November 20th.
Yeah.
I don't know when you're listening to it, but we're recording this the night of Monday, November 20th. And holy buckets. So I didn't go to a ColossalCon North this year. Did any of you?
Nope.
No.
I know you did last
Turns
year.
out,
Celeste.
yeah, there are several friends of mine from out of state who I was really hoping to see, but turns out that like cremation is real expensive, yo. So I did not have.
Yeah, no, it's
I didn't have money.
well, it's
so that's not happening.
I just don't go to convention. Like I don't do any public events 2 weeks before a family holiday where I'm going to go see my parents.
Also smart.
My
They are-
aged parents.
I used that weekend to go see my parents because they're going to be on a trip. So
You were here and you didn't say hi?
I know.
You
Terrible
were
as
blocks.
always.
Gen, folks, you have to understand. I live only a few blocks away from Gen's parents.
Yep.
Gen could have
You
walked
get mad every
over
time
here.
I come in.
Gen could have walked over here.
I walked like past your apartment block too.
You know who tells me when they're in town? Flanagan tells me when he's in town.
Oh. Good for Flanagan.
We hung out.
Good for you.
But
And how were those?
great. It was really fun.
Good.
anyways, just saying. You could have hung out. Anyways, actually, you're probably doing things with your parents and wouldn't have time to, but you could have said hi. But anyways, ColossalCon North is, of course, the convention that's set up in the Kalahari after the Daishokon went out of business. If you want to know what happened to Daishokon, go listen to our Death of Daishokon episode.
It's a lot.
Now, ColossalCon, you just check the ColossalCon tag on our website if you want to know the interesting history that sometimes has happened with this chain of conventions based out of Ohio, where their original convention of the ColossalCon Prime is held, also at a Kalahari. The Sandusky Kalahari. But at the Wisconsin Dells Kalahari, some interesting stuff happened, and that is Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, November 18th, approximately 10:30 a.m. after an incident with ColossalCon North's upper management. The entire ColossalCon North 2023 cosplay staff decided to quit en masse, including the original cosplay judges, and then were removed from the building by security.
Oofda.
Yeah, I mean, they were staying in ColossalCon provided rooms, and so they were escorted from the Kalahari by Kalahari security, which really sucks. When, from what I found out, the people were able to find friends to stay with, in other hotels, because they were then stranded in the Dells in November.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oofda.
So let's think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah. So we've talked to several witnesses. I've talked to a couple people who were physically there, and based on what I'm told, so the and we've also talked to Starfall. I've also talked to Starfall Cosplay, who was the head of the head of cosplay, who was the person who who quit and everybody came with. And this is kind of a doozy. So if the first messages I got were from attendees who were there, and witnessed what happened, because you have to understand what happened not in a private room, not behind closed doors, but in a hallway of the convention.
Yeah.
And this is the way that now the cosplay. So due to some disagreements over like, I haven't gotten the full details about exactly what happened, but from what I've been told, there was a communications breakdown, and deadline, there was the cosplay had Tilly was late getting some information to a department by about 20 minutes, and on Saturday morning. And we can go into why this happened, or like the, you know, having the per position split and not being given contact for tech and not being allowed to talk to tech directly, but instead had to go through a manager who wouldn't actually respond. It, like, we could go through like all of this stuff and I could like detail through it all, but it, regardless of who was at fault, and I'm not going to name any of the ColossalCon staff. I have names, but I'm not going to say them, because I don't want to. The manager overseeing the cosplay team. So it's the manager over Starfall cosplay and the guest relations head were had an issue. And while Tilly wanted to take this into the cosplay office and take this out of a public space, they insisted on having the conversation in the hallway. Now, the way that the cosplay staff has described it, that Tilly was berated by the cosplay staff, the way that an attendee who was physically present described it as to me is that the ColossalCon upper management screamed at the cosplay staff in public. This is the way that the witnesses I have described the incident. Now, I want to say that these terms were not used by any of the staff members who quit. Like I am using the term that they were screamed at only based off of the information given to me by third parties who were present, who were physically present in the space and watched this occur. That is the terms that the people I've talked to have used. And so, after being screamed at, the cosplay staff, including the original set of judges, quit the convention. And there is video of them being escorted by security. You can see it on TikTok. I will say there's some really good coverage of this on TikTok by the user Hack. It's spelled HAKC. I think it's Hack is her full. It's dot hack is the full username, and Hack is purposely spelled incorrectly, stylistically. You know, the thing we do where we spell things wrong on purpose because it's a thing. Yeah, anyways. She has some really good coverage, and I linked to a video of hers in an article on our website. And there are also some TikToks from the cosplay staff members involved. And I just want to say, like, no matter what happened, like, I don't want to like necessarily litigate whether or not like everything was done correctly by the cosplay staff. But no matter what, you don't publicly berate your staff. Like, I have been working conventions for 25 years. I have been a convention director who has had to fire my tabletop gaming head in the middle of a convention. I have had to deal, I have had to deal with extreme situations. And in all of those situations, you never, under any circumstances, do that in a public hallway in front of attendees. It's not only disrespectful to your staff who is working for you for the guy I fired, I didn't do it I did it behind closed doors to not embarrass him, and I was so pissed at him that I booted him from the event halfway through it.
Yikes.
Like, because he had alcohol in con space accessible to minors. It was, yeah.
Not saying it was unreasonable. I'm just giving
no, right.
Yikes.
But what I'm saying is that I was so angry and was in a position that I did not do that in front of other people because even that asshole idiot deserved that much respect.
Well, and it really comes down to a level of professionalism.
Yeah.
Because like when attendees see that happen,
yeah,
they get a bad idea about how the convention is run.
Exactly. Well, or in this case, an
Mhm.
accurate idea because they did it in front of them.
Yeah. But like, it's
Every person who works for you, every person who volunteers for you, every person who gives their time, even if you're compensating them in some small way, the fact is, I don't know if there's any compensation involved because ColossalCon is a for-profit corporation, isn't it? Or is it not? Yeah.
I think it's a for-profit event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I hope they're paying people because I'm pretty sure it's currently the Labor Department considers it illegal to volunteer for a for-profit corporation. But I can't say. So like I'm assuming they were receiving some sort of compensation. If they weren't, that's a whole other issue and someone needs to but no one has said anything in either direction. But no matter what, this is not like a wage that someone's living on. Even if they're being compensated for this, it's not like money. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
this is and the fact is that like these are people who are doing things out of love and out of dedication for the craft. And so even if they're not doing a good enough job, which by the way, so Starfall Cosplay, full disclosure, was No Brand Con, the convention that I work for, originally was scheduled to be a cosplay judge at No Brand Con this year, but had to cancel last minute due to a positive COVID test.
Yeesh.
And so this she's also head of cosplay for Amkey, and Amkey is a pretty well run large convention relatively, like we talk about conventions the size of Amkey all the time that are so much like the Amkey does a much better job than. So like Amkey's not perfect. I have criticisms about Amkey, but the fact is it's like I do not believe that this is regardless of what was occurring. And based on like I've talked to Tilly a little bit, and like I think that she was perfectly reasonable in like where she was at, and like I don't believe that any delays were her fault. But that's just a personal opinion, and I haven't I do not know Ohayocon. No, do not know ColossalCon. I definitely don't know Ohayocon side of the story in this ColossalCon issue. I don't know ColossalCon North's side of the story because they have not responded to my request for comment.
Gotcha.
In fact, actually, I joined the ColossalCon North Facebook group hoping to see if they had made any official statements because there wasn't anything on their group. There wasn't anything on their page other than the fact that they announced that the cosplay contest was still happening, because it did happen. They turned off comments on any posts about the cosplay contest, but it did happen, and we can talk about that. But I joined the Facebook group just to see, and also, like I live like 2 hours, like I used to run a convention in the Dells, like I have attended many conventions in the Dells. Like going to the Dells is not a long drive for me. So like I had thought, I keep, considering going to Colossal eventually once I'm more confident in COVID levels. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I'm willing to go to conventions right now, but I'm not willing to go to conventions in proximity of certain holidays. I eventually, though, hope to return to a world where that can happen. So I joined the ColossalCon North group. I have been banned from the ColossalCon North group. I never commented once. I never made a single post. I joined. I was allowed in. I published the article, and the next day I was banned from the group. I am unable to see that it exists, and I have confirmed. I have a second Facebook account that I have for developer purposes. It doesn't like talk to people. I don't friend people. It's just there so I can run some automated apps through the Facebook API. But I know that they didn't like make the group hidden. Like it's still there. I just can't see it. So there's that. So ColossalCon has like made no official statements about this publicly, right? There is nothing on their Facebook page. They have been closing their comments. Now, they're in the unofficial.
It is worth noting that if you, I just wanted to take a look real quick on their Facebook page. If you go to their, maybe not their page. Yeah, well, okay. Well, if you search, never mind. I thought it was posts about them on their page. They weren't blocking, but no, it was just if you search ColossalCon North, you'll find a bunch of people commenting on the mess that was the contest.
Yeah.
Darn. Okay, never mind.
Sadly,
I'm just a Luddite.
Yeah, it's okay. So here's a weird thing. Technically, there might be an official statement. Let me tell you how I found it.
Okay.
See, there is an unofficial ColossalCon North 21 Plus group that says it's not affiliated with the convention. But the admin to that group, or at least an admin to that group, Maximilian Vandermark Geary, who is an admin in that group, and I do not know if he has any association with ColossalCon at all, but he is the admin of the unofficial, it says it's unofficial on the group, unofficial ColossalCon 21 Plus group. After locking a thread where an attendee was complaining about the cosplay contest stuff, claims he doesn't know what any of the coverage was, but said, it says, the official response from ColossalCon is, and this is, I quote, "There was a verbal disagreement between the cosplay department head and another department head that was unrelated to cosplay. Without consulting or seeking mediation from management, the cosplay department decided to cancel the cosplay contest and began to delete contestant information without communicating with anyone, while there are more people invested in the contest than those two parties." Now, I'm going to say something. I know for a fact that Tilly didn't delete any records of cosplay attendees because she still has them on her laptop. Now, I don't know if she removed anything from an official ColossalCon server, but I know that that she didn't remove any of the applicant records from her own stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if that's actually a statement from ColossalCon North. I don't know if it is a statement from ColossalCon North. Who made the statement? I don't. You know what I mean? I just know that this guy posted in this group that it was. I have seen weird misinformation pass around. I have seen people claim that Tilly has been fired from Amkey, which is not true. Amkey has not been involved in this at all. I know that I had somebody try to leave a comment on our Facebook page, on our official article on this. I did not publish it, but it was claiming that the guy who yelled is the one who quit and was escorted by security, which is amazing because as far as I can tell, and I could be wrong, but the genders of all the people involved in the actual confrontation, all of them identify as women. As far as I know. So I'm like, what weird story do you think happened is what I want to go to that one commenter. And I know the person left the comments IP address tracks to the Wisconsin Dells, so they were in the Dells when they wrote the comment. But I'm seeing weird misinformation go around about this whole situation. And I just want to make this clear. Regardless of what happened, what we know happened is that ColossalCon upper management appears to have publicly berated the cosplay staff in a hallway. That staff quit. And then because they quit, they were escorted out of the premises. That is the quick version of this. There's no they didn't quit because they were being disciplined. They quit because they felt humiliated being publicly berated, and nobody needs that on their fucking Saturday.
No.
like I'll tell you, like there are tons of times where I've been mad at people working for me at conventions. Other times I have worked professionally in jobs with people under me, and you don't get the best work out of people by publicly berating them.
Gosh, no.
No, that's why that happens and
Extremely
people
true.
quit. And guess what? That happened and people quit. That's what happens. Now, I know that some people did step up and ran a cosplay contest. I believe that the judges were like, I think the guest head. I think actually literally the two of the judges were the people who did the yelling, but that's just secondhand. I don't know that for sure.
What I know from some sources I had on the ground who have asked to remain anonymous, and I have nothing but respect for them.
I have a lot of sources who've asked to remain anonymous because they don't want retaliation from ColossalCon.
Yeah, kind of from the sources that I've talked to, a lot of the reason that the contest ended up happening was there were several veteran cosplayers or veteran like veterans of cosplay contests who knew a little bit about the situation and felt that it wasn't fair to the attendees to not have a cosplay contest for them. And they stepped up for those, specifically for those attendees. The parties that I spoke with did want to make it clear that they weren't doing things on behalf of the ColossalCon staff, but on behalf of the people there who love cosplay, and to make sure that they weren't being punished for the things that the staff did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this entire situation is ridiculous. And it goes back to the exact same thing in the Ohayocon story, is that you've got people who are donating their time, like even in this case, even if they were being compensated in this case, because I hope they were, because, you know, if for-profit corporation, they should be compensating their workers legally. But even for that small compensation, they deserve to be treated with respect, and they deserve to be treated professionally, and you need to appreciate them. Like, fucking A. And if you are incapable of acting professionally, if you are incapable of understanding how to manage a team like this, if you think that publicly berating someone working under you is a productive or smart thing to do, you should not be in a position of management. You are not capable of, you do not have the understanding of management is not just about doing a task and then checking other tasks are done. That is certainly a part of the job. However, part of a job of management in any situation is understanding the people working for you, working with them, and if you're dealing with people, it is a social position. Part of the way you get the best work out of people working for you is they feel appreciated, and they understand. They will take on the stakes themselves if you've found good people, and you motivate your workers and you treat them with respect, especially. And I'm just going to say this from a cynical point of view.
Yeah.
If it costs the person nothing to walk out the door, you need to incentivize them to stay.
Yeah, it's true. Like, these are, I'm sorry, I just cannot understand.
Like I understand, like the cosplay staffers who left, and I know a lot of them feel really hurt, and because they have a lot of, there's this thing, I know I've seen this with the Ohayocon people too, that we invest a lot emotionally into these events when we work for them. They become important to us. They become these things, but we often forget that these are things we are doing because we love them, and the moment we stop loving them, it's okay to stop. And we're all here by choice, and everyone, your self-worth is more important than these conventions. I'm just, yeah.
I said it earlier in the episode, but I want to say it again. For anyone who is staffing cons or is considering staffing cons, please, please, please remember that this is a service job you're signing up for. It's not a glory job. You're going to be going out there and you're going to be doing things to help other people. And
yeah, absolutely.
And you have to remember that the people you're working with have that same goal. And it's this kind of thing, like screaming at someone in front of the crowd, like a crowd of people. That's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
You can't go doing that. Even if someone is, no matter what led up to it, it doesn't matter. It's just not justified.
Yeah.
That's always what it's like, but yeah, that's what it's about. It's about making sure people have a good time that weekend.
So yeah, that's the ColossalCon North situation.
What a downer.
What a downer. But hey, at least they're not Atomic Monster Weekend.
Yeah, at least they actually happened. That's a pretty...
Yeah, no, it's like, for perspective, like, let's just all keep stuff in perspective. Like, I feel like, this is our hobby, guys. For vendors, this is their life, this is their income, this is their job. And woe to all vendors who have bound their livelihoods into the fortunes of dysfunctional geeks who are poorly socialized. Like, I'm sorry, like, I feel so bad for every vendor and artist who has been like, I'm going to tie my financial fate to the whims of the socially dysfunctional passion projects.
It does feel... I am going to say, like, it's weird because, like, I guess I can't necessarily include Colossal in this, but, like, the not-for-profit con space, it is depressing how many of those have been going south because seemingly an entire generation of con chairs with no social skills have seen being in charge of a con as somehow validation instead of as a means to provide entertainment to other people.
Oh yeah, they see it as a power trip.
Yeah, it's absolutely
there are cons that didn't have that problem. There are cons that have navigated that, but they're also all bad at money, so
there are cons that have navigated that, but I'm just saying, it feels like there's an entire generation of just all of them happening at once.
You don't understand. This is, man, all of this has happened before and will happen again. Climb on the wheel, buddy. I watched the 90s crash and burn.
Doing it again.
Yes, absolutely. We're doing it again. And the only consolation is that a new generation will rise up from the ashes, and some of them won't make the same mistakes because we complained about them on a podcast and they heard it and they went, oh, well, I'm not going to do that.
Beast Wars is back. There's a mediocre Democrat in office and the con market is collapsing again. It's the 90s, everybody.
No, it's worse than the 90s. In the 90s, economics were in a way better position. You could buy a house. I don't have a house. Where's my house? You freaking homeowners.
I got a house.
I know. Beat you up and take your house. Except then I'd have to live in Janesville. I don't want to live in Janesville. You can keep your house. It's in Janesville.
I like my Janesville house.
I mean, it's good. I mean, you live there. So, I mean, if you didn't like it, it would be messed up, man.
It'd be pretty weird, yeah.
Lady, you better like your house because you got to live there for a long time. Because you can't afford to go anywhere else because you bought a house.
Basically, yeah. I got a house.
Celeste,
Plus, I really can't afford to go anywhere else right now because it turns out cremation's expensive. Sorry, I keep going back to that. But that's
Not as
boy.
expensive as
That's a
burial.
big part of your life right now.
That is a
so
big part of my life right now. Is
okay.
reflecting on how
And
freaking expensive cremation.
dealing with
Oh.
that kind of stuff with
Perspective.
jokes and a healthy way
But
to do it.
Exactly.
it's also perspective. Like, it's,
Yeah.
girl, things could be worse. There's actual stakes in life. This is the low stakes stuff that we just think
Yeah,
is the most important thing
I'd
in the
rather
world.
be annoyed by the cost of cremation than needing to be the one getting cremated. I'll put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah. And for all of you who are listening, who think that convention's going south at the end of the world, at least you don't have to cremate somebody.
Yeah. See, that's
I'm glad we don't write advice columns. Granted, mine would be just like dumb advice.
I did
Like really
technically-
inane stuff.
I did technically briefly do Ask Executron.
you're feeling depressed. Okay, well, there's a way of handling that. Better throw in some pizza rolls
People
and watch
come to me
Cowboy Bebop all the way through.
I literally
11th time.
do. I literally do an advice episode every year on BS Free Witchcraft. People do come to me for advice.
I used to write articles on like tips on how to like run a convention.
That's like half of my Tumblr is people asking me for advice on stuff. Just not about this. Oh,
I don't envy either of you.
folks.
If you see me, you should think that girl's a hot mess. Don't do what she's doing. And then you'll go far, I promise.
So don't watch anime on Netflix. Got it. Understood.
Got it,
No.
yeah.
I now know to
damn it.
disregard all
Watch
of your
Pluto.
recommendations, Celeste.
Please, God, watch Pluto. It's so good.
Nope. I was told to do
Also-
the opposite of what
also
Celeste
watch-
is doing.
Watch Akuma-kun. Akuma-kun's so good.
Nope,
No
can't
one's
do it.
talking about it.
That's because you're watching it and you told us not to do
Yeah.
what you were doing.
Damn it.
Girl, you done dug that yourself.
I know.
All right. Whew, all right. So that's certainly a lot. I'm not going to do the Vomit Head Steve challenge this month. Screw it. We are going to do the Hall of Awesome. Hall of Awesome is the current members of the Hall of Awesome are as follows: Arkham Zero, Rena Incenti, Cheesy McDamu, Chris Slizzler D, Shamus Otaku, The Random Ramblings Man, Corfan, Capito, Chris Graham, Millosaurus, Paper Godzilla, Cavsy, The Minnesota Librarian, Sean Orange, Arcady, Sakura Sunset, Joel Kreisman, Patrick Salanti, Wonderland Arts, and Megsy Sass Council. Ran out of air because I had to change my rhythm. Yeah, and if you want to get in the Hall of Awesome, listen to a different episode. Just go find a different episode of the show. Like, go back 5 episodes or something. You can find out how to get into the Hall of Awesome. That's my solution.
Give it your best shot.
And if you're curious what the Hall of Awesome is, again, go listen to a different You should listen to like 3 or 4 episodes of the show just to be sure that you understand what's happening. And then tell your friends. And tell your friends' friends. And then rate and review us on iTunes. I mean, Apple Podcasts. I keep calling it iTunes even though it's Apple Podcasts now. I don't care. I don't know. Celeste, get us out of here.
From the Nerd and Tie Nerd Dome, a definite physical place that we record from, I'm Celeste Star Twin.
I'm Trey Dorn.
I'm getting proc.
And remember, you can follow the show on social media. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdandtie. We are nerdandtie.tumblr.com. And technically, we have an X/Twitter at nerdandtie. It technically posts stuff. It's automated. And then you can also, remember, join our new fancy forums at nerdandtie.social and talk to us. Or you can also still find us on our Discord, and you can find an invite at nerdandtie.com/discord. Remember, we're a part of the Nerd and Tie Podcast Network, and we've got podcasts all the way from many topics, from actual play shows like Stormwood and Associates to witchcraft shows like BS Free Witchcraft, and to true crime podcasts like Cool and Unusual Punishment, which is currently doing a series called Chosen, all about the scandal around the Valley Brook Church in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, a few years back. and it's fascinating, and nobody got murdered. So it's true crime without murder.
Yeah, it's really, really intense, you guys. Definitely
So-
give it a listen. It's good.
You get to find out what knitting is, and it's fucking weird.
It's really, really weird.
All right. And remember, you can support the show, always sponsor an episode by going to nerdtalk.com, clicking on sponsor us. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/TREGORN. Celeste has got a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Celeste is best. Again, where are you selling stuff? Cryptid Arcade.
Yeah, cryptidarcade.com.
You should buy things.
Look at my stuff. I make it.
Look at stuff. Buy stuff. Is it possible to still get stuff before the holidays?
Technically, yes.
Get your orders in now. Now, or else it won't get there by the time you need it to get there, which is the time that will happen in the future, but not too far in the future, because again, get it in now. All right, so with that in your hearts, in your soul, in the places that you fear to go at night, in the places that you tread late in the evening on a dark, dark November day, remember, the turkey never forgives. The turkey never forgets. The turkey will wait.
And it'll drown itself in the rain.
Keep on spocking in the free world.
I mean, you could keep on spocking in the free world.
Yeah, it could.
But what about the consequences? What about the consequences of that act? What about the dreams and hopes of the people in the future and the past?
Okay, but a Vulcan turkey?
Ooh. Yeah. Wait, I'm all about
No,
this.
like that would have like huge, like if what I know about the animal life on Vulcan, it would probably have like 6-inch fangs.
Yeah!
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, just a turkey with huge fangs, but
The
still
turkey,
is dumb.
The turkey would eat you for dinner.
I mean,
Run from the Vulcan turkey!
Yeah,
Janesville
those
has
things are
roving
huge.
gangs of turkeys. That's
Like
pretty
turkeys
standard.
in real life are
They're-
massive.
There
Yeah,
are
like-
roving groups of turkeys here. It's Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There are turkeys all over the frickin' place.
Yeah, basically, it's like the raccoons in Parks and Rec, but we have turkeys.
Have
Yep.
a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We're gonna. I should hit stop at some point, right? I'm gonna hit stop now. Yeah, we're done.